Okay, well, thanks everyone thanks again for coming tonight. This is the first time we've operated in this particular room, so it's great to be able to have our meal over there and then move over for the presentation. So this is the second in a series of workshops that we're convening this year, and the topics in the workshops have been chosen by you based on feedback, topics that you want to learn more about, you might be concerned about, or like AI, rapidly emerging issues that impact both our personal and our business lives. So I want to I'll introduce our three panel members tonight, and then we can thank them in advance for their points of discussion. And they're each going to spend sort of 7 to 8 minutes introducing their business, what they do with AI as a bit of a thought starter. And then when the panel have finished, we're going to hand over to you for questions that you've got, and the panel members are going to provide their perspective and answer as many of those questions as we can. So we're scheduled to finish at 8. If there's still a strong pipeline of questions then we might go a little bit over. If you need to leave at 8 sharp, please feel free to get up and move on. So firstly, Pat Reid. Pat has been operating an IT business, iWorks, for 25 years. He's deep into this space with customer relationship management, digital marketing, and platforms that support engagement in the not-for-profit sector. So, really quite an expert and pioneer in the use of AI. Brad Walker. Brad is a stretch coach. He's an exercise scientist. He's been operating in his business for 31 years and in recent years has looked at how AI can extend his reach and extended that reach into evangelism. So not just business focus, but how do I use AI to reach the lost? And finally, Josh Campese. Josh is a serial entrepreneur. He has founded and kicked off, started more businesses than I can remember in his few short years on this earth. He tells me he lives in the AI world now, so he's been able to use AI and harness it in a way that gives him efficient use of his time, enables him to lead and manage multiple businesses, engage with an extremely wide consumer base, all from working from home now, which is a fantastic enabler. So I wonder if you could just join with me and thank these three business owners. And we're going to kick off with Pat. So Pat, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if I'm an AI expert, definitely not an AI expert, but maybe an AI struggler or an AI contend with it and struggle with it from time to time. And our business would be called AI Exposed. We run a software development house, and one of the real risk industries that is facing a challenge from AI is software and software development, because you can do a lot of it yourself right now. And I just thought I was going to try to do a live demo for you, but I hooking up was a bit tricky. But I thought, just as I was having dinner over there, I thought, I'll just make a website for this group, and we'll use AI, one of the AI tools, to whip up a website and just see how quick it is. So in that few minutes we're just having dinner, I typed in a few prompts. I said about the business group and what it was and where it was located, and I asked for it to create something about our events and our little registration form and stuff like that. And Ken, if you could put up that QR code, you'll see already we've got a website. So feel free to get that out and have a look at it, and we can have a little scroll through. If you want inspiration for your business names, I encourage you to go to the business directory, because it's come up with a bunch of great Christian business names like Summit Financial Advisors, Kingdom Enterprises, Grace Law Firm, Cornerstone Construction. That is great, isn't it? Faithful Marketing Services. But have a little look through that, just have a little scroll through. This was literally created in like 5 minutes. And if you ever get a chance to do this, it gives you a real hit of dopamine, because you think, oh man, if I tried to do this myself, it would have taken, I'd had to hire an expert, and I would have had to, pay lots of money, and I would have had to get it hosted, and I would have had to do all these things, and I would have had to worry about domains and, a whole bunch of, and marketing, all that sort of stuff. And I can just type a few words into a prompt. To use this one, I used one called Figma. Figma have got a service called Figma Make, which is a great, tool for building websites and apps and things like that. So I just want to kind of show you that you can do something like that so quick and easy. I literally started that like just when we started dinner and just tapped it in and got something going. So it's not perfect, but I do like the fact that it takes all its liberties. It's already created a mission statement for us. So you see that? Have a look at it on your phone. It's got a whole bunch of contacts. It's it's invented our next series of events and stuff like that. And thus the, kind of the, I just want to highlight, the ease of it, but then also I want everyone to think tonight not just about the benefits, because you'll hear lots, especially probably from Josh, about how time-saving everything is, and how he's doing the work of like 50 people all by himself, which I think is amazing. But then also the risks. So start thinking about what are the challenges that you see from here. So be able to build this in 5 minutes, wonderful. How useful is that? But when you get into it, do you really want the computer writing a mission statement? I don't know. You might go for it and go, oh yeah, that looks good. And it's so easy to accept things that are content generated for us and to go, oh, that's good content, I'll use that. But if you went through the process of actually writing your own mission statement, you'd probably come up with something a bit different and something a little bit more meaningful to you and your business. So I just want to encourage everyone to think about not just the positives, because it's very easy once you get into it. You'll get lots and lots of dopamine, like that little hit that says, oh, that's so good. Oh, how cool is that? All that sort of stuff. You'll get those feelings every time you put a prompt in, it does something you want it to do. It's like having an obedient child. It's like, oh, I can't believe it. It did what I wanted it to do. And it's good. So anyway, so I just thought that was an interesting example, just to show you how useful it is. Now, for us as a software, business, we're at risk. So how do I pivot my software to be able to be used in this environment? And that's been a journey for us. You might think software developers would love AI. They don't. If you've got any serious coder, they think it's rubbish. So, I've had a journey with my staff trying to bring them on board as to how we can use it in our business, because they, definitely are being dragged kicking and screaming into this new world. And then also looking at our clients, who can then do so much more, can be so much more, and pivoting our organisation so that, and our service offerings, so that we can support people who want to be creative with tools like that, and then maybe plug it into our CRM. So that's kind of where we're at with it. But I did think, I do like getting philosophical about these sorts of things, and thinking not just in the short term but in the long term. There's been a lot of talk on the news lately about tax changes and how positively or negatively affects our children and things like that. And I do want to think about as I was talking to someone just before saying how good AI is doing the donkey work. It can process your receipts, it can make simple websites, and it can write music and do all sorts of things these days. But those are the things that young people would often do to build skill. And I do feel like as we're starting to look critically at these things and think analytically about the future of these sorts of things, we can have a view of it possibly that is all around how productive I can be. But I think as we run businesses, we're managers, aren't we? We manage lots of different things. So we manage our capital and financial resources, we manage our human resources, and we've got AI now in the mix, so we're going to manage our AI resources. But we've got to keep them all in balance, hey? So we've got to keep a pipeline for our people, that our people become skillful. We can't just have a whole bunch of highly skilled people who are AI is doing all the easy work, and then you've got a skilled person reviewing that and things like that. You've got to take time. People take time to build skills and things like that. So I definitely don't want to lose that idea that that just because things can do something, it's a good idea for them to always do it. But I don't want to put that as a holdback on anything else that's going to happen, because there'll be a bit of advocacy as well, I'm sure, tonight. So, but yeah, I'm like I said, I'm AI contender. I'm contending with it, and daily, working out how it works with us, it affects our business, and how we'll stay, profitable and serving our clients well into the future. And I believe we will. I don't think we're going to need to do anything too drastic, at least at the moment. But it's definitely an interesting world, and it's definitely one that for me and my business we're responding to. So yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Pat. Brad.
Yeah, thank you. So I got introduced to AI back in 2023. As Ian said, I've always worked in the health and wellness space. And I was approached by a business broker and asked if I was interested in selling my company. At the time, I hadn't seriously thought about it, but as any entrepreneur will tell you, their business is always for sale at the right price. So I started looking into how AI was going to affect my business in the future, and I very quickly realised that AI was going to be able to do a lot of the things that my business was currently doing. And I sort of envisioned a time where there would be a lot of competition coming into the marketplace. So while AI wasn't the determining factor in me selling my business, it was definitely one of the factors that I took into account, particularly with some of the, had some software products that we'd had for 20 years. We first developed them as desktop software, later transitioned them into software as a service, and one of those products was quite a big revenue generator for us. And just out of curiosity, I thought, well, I wonder if AI can do what our software can do. So I sat down. I can't even remember what agent that I used. It was probably ChatGPT. Just put in some criteria that sort of mirrored what our software did. And the AI was able to generate what our software was doing almost instantly. And that was software that we'd spent 20 years developing and a few $100,000 developing over those 20 years. So that was definitely a big factor in my decision to sell the company. So as Pat said, AI is really doing a lot of work that software engineers are doing at the moment. So I've got a few examples. I've got dozens of examples of how I'm using AI, and also some of my clients are. But given the limited time, I just thought that I'd try and pick a couple that are a little bit out of the box, a little bit sort of different to the, getting AI to write your emails or your blog posts or do some of your SEO or social media marketing. One of the companies I do some consulting for is a company called Stretch Lab, and I started with them back in 2017 when they were 2 studios in the US. They're now over 1,000 locations in the US. They're in, I think, 8 or 9 different countries now. They're in Australia. I think they've got about 25 studios in Australia. And one of the challenges they have when opening a new studio, it's a franchise, so one of the challenges they have is when a new franchisee purchases a location and they start doing some advertising, it's typically just the franchisee and maybe 1 or 2 other people, and it's very hard to manage the incoming calls. They tend to do a lot of social media advertising, and they get a lot of inquiries through that. And it was very hard to manage those inquiries, get back to them in a decent amount of time, and even having someone to be able to answer the questions that the people were asking, because it's a health service. People would often inquire along the lines of health questions, and the franchise owner wasn't necessarily a health and fitness person or came from a health and fitness background. So they weren't able to answer a lot of the questions. So what the company has done is developed an AI agent to answer those incoming sales calls. So now when you ring up and make an inquiry, the AI agent answers the call, they introduce themselves, they welcome you to Stretch Lab, and they ask a series of leading questions to basically draw information out of the potential client. Depending on the answers you give them, depending on why you're calling and what you want to achieve, then the AI agent will make an offer, some sort of special offer, some sort of discount, sometimes a free trial of the service. From there, the AI agent will look at the calendar, find a spot that's suitable for the client, book the client in, send them a confirmation with all their details, all their appointment time, send them a reminder 24 hours before their appointment. Afterwards, send them a follow-up email or text to make sure they were happy with the service, get some feedback and so forth. And basically run that whole pipeline from initial call right through to getting them in the studio and getting them signed up. Not only are they now capturing so many more inquiries, because oftentimes someone will make an inquiry, I'm sure we've all done it before, in the moment you want an answer to something really quickly. Maybe you ring up, you leave a message. By the time someone gets back to you, you've forgotten about it and so forth. So they lose a lot of people along the way. Now the AI agent, it's essentially been trained as their top salesperson in the company. So the AI agent knows everything about the company, knows all the health and fitness things from an anatomical and physiological point of view. So if the client has questions around health sort of queries or anything to do with anatomy and physiology, the AI agent can answer all that. And so they've seen a massive uptake in the amount of people that they're getting into the studios now for that initial appointment, that initial consult, which is fantastic. They've had so much success with the phone system, they're now duplicating it with a text service as well. So instead of ringing, you can text, and the AI agent will actually talk back and forth to you via text. Same process, draw information out of you, ask you questions, find out what your needs are, and then make you an offer, tailor-made to what you're looking for. So that's one area where one of my clients is using AI. Anyone here do any video editing? Yeah. How time-consuming is video editing?
Stupidly time-consuming.
Massively time-consuming. I hope you don't mind. I'm just going to read from my phone here because I have an AI agent now that does all of my video editing. So typically, anyone who knows anything about video editing knows it's hugely time-consuming. Just to produce a 10-minute video could take anything from a few hours to a whole day. So I have an AI editing pipeline now, which I essentially just drop a raw video into the pipeline. So I just pull out my phone or webcam or whatever you record on. I drop that in there, and then the AI goes to work. Initially, I've got a process here. I'll just read it out. So the first thing it does is it transcribes and time stamps all of the audio. Then it goes through the audio and cleans it all out. So all the ums, ahs, the dead space, the retakes, you start and then you stumble and then you go again. So the AI goes and does all that. If I want to, it can blur the background of the video. Then it adds, and this is for me personally, one of my websites, oftentimes I'll read scripture. So it will add the scripture to the screen. It'll take me as the sort of center focus of the video. It'll put me in a picture-in-picture, put me down in the right-hand corner and put the scripture up on the screen. It adds zoom in and zoom out. So you know how the picture will zoom in and zoom out. It'll actually create a 10 to 20 second hook, so it'll review the audio, the transcript, find something that's sort of punchy and intriguing, and it'll take that as a hook and add that to the front of the video. Then it assembles everything. So I have like a pre-made intro and outro. So it assembles the hook, the intro, the content, and the outro. Then it does all the transitions, so the fade in, fade out, all that sort of stuff. It cleans the audio. Apparently YouTube likes audio in a certain format, so it knows that, and it does all that for me. It adds a watermark. It adds subtitles. It then goes and creates a whole bunch of shorts and reels. So it goes through the video, pulls out interesting clips for shorts and reels. It then writes the YouTube metadata. So it reviews all the audio. It writes the title, the description, the keywords, the chapters, everything. Then it creates the thumbnail. So it takes the title from the meta description, adds that to the thumbnail. It already knows all my colour schemes, fonts, text sizes, everything. It knows how I like everything, and it creates a thumbnail that I've sort of pre-programmed it to do, and then it spits out the final edited perfect version ready to upload. So basically takes something that would normally take most of a day and cuts it down to about an hour or so. So that's just sort of some of the things you can start to do with AI. And one more example before I finish up. I have a website called JesusUnveiled.com, and I had a quiz on that website, and it was basically a series of drop-down boxes. So the question was in the box, where was Jesus born? And you'd click on the box, and the answer would drop down. So I essentially went to Claude and said, Claude, I've got this quiz at this address here, gave it the address. I said, I want to turn it into a interactive game type quiz that people will have fun using and so forth. And it went and created an amazing quiz straight away. So if you want to have a look at that, JesusUnveiled.com. On the homepage, there's a button, take the Jesus quiz. And you can see everything on that quiz. Claude created it all, the whole lot. So just how it works, how it integrates with the website, how it integrates with my email marketing platform and everything else. So, yeah, so there's some examples.
Thank you, Brad.
Great. Brad just fully pitched, eh? That's full on. And Pat's going to sell that website to you later, eh? He's going to give you an invoice.
You saved me a lot of work there, Pat.
My name's Josh. I'm very aggressive in e-commerce, so I've got a lot of online stores, and we sell products. We've got Gel Blaster store, party store, whole bunch of stuff, supplements as well. The common silver lining, I guess, here is like you're hearing what AI can do, but it's obviously instigated by us, right? You might be sitting there just going, oh, this does all this, but there is a human attached to the outworking of what AI can do. And I want to stress on that because it's very important. If you're out there and you do have a business, and I was talking to Anthony and I was talking to Pat before, I'm like, yeah, AI is amazing, but like the reality is AI is really going to be as good as you are. If you're a CEO of a company and you are not a visionary, AI is useless to you. You can get a lot of people saying, I can make you an automatic email system, cool. I can do this for you, I can do that for you, cool. But as a CEO or someone that wants to start a business, you need to understand how to win first. I know it sounds backwards because AI kind of, I want to get rich, give me a path, and it'll just generate something, right? There's memes going around where it's like, Claude, which mushroom should I eat? And it's like, that one. And then the next clip is like, he's dead in the grave. And then Claude replies, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. That's very much AI now. And I just want to talk about, because I want to do the pros and cons. So even what I'm doing, there's a lot of things that are not right. There's a lot of failures. There's a lot of negative stuff. But it's only as good as I am. Like, I need to have some form of intelligence to be able to guide the AI into how I want it to program. So how did I do this? So I've got about 35 staff total. When it came out, I think now we're well into like three months, I think 4 months maybe, Claude Code and all this. So I bought the Claude Max plan, which is about $300 for each one of my staff. And I said, your job, we work in sprints, and a sprint's like 2 weeks. Your job is in the next sprint in your area, I need you to build something that can assist you. Like I needed my team to understand how to operate this thing, because if I'm just going to build something and expect them to operate it and like it's not going to work. The owner of that section needs to understand how it can work for you, right? So I got them all, cost me a fortune. What they didn't know is that it's going to eventually replace them. I'm going to take what they built. I'm going to fire them all. It's already happened. I'm ruthless, whatever. So that happened. They're building stuff. They're like, look at this. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, cool. So the importance is definitely in, and like Brad was saying, like he isolated how he could use it to his advantage. Like this is where a lot of my time goes into, and I'm big on something called the 80-20 rule. So 20% of everything you do brings 80% of your revenue, right? So that 20% was focused on AI. Like how can I get this thing to make me as much profit as possible? Now in e-commerce, profit, like every single dollar is so important. I know we pretty much operate on the same thing, but in e-commerce, you've got like, you know, if you're selling a $30 product, does anyone do e-commerce, like sell online products? No. Damn. But like, if you're selling a product for $30, cool. Like, you're making all these sales, amazing. You're making $1 million a year, whatever. But like, it goes deeper than that. It's like to acquire a customer costs you $30, right? Then there's all this, and there's like people that you've got working there, and then you're adding percentage on percentage, and then long story short, I realized that I lost like 300K in 2020 last year because I thought we're doing well on a product, and then it ends up being the product that we lost the most money on. So I just needed understanding of finance, so I created a finance dashboard, right? So just keep in mind, I'm CEO, I need to understand the finances of my company. So I built a dashboard that took about 3.5 months of like, this is all the money coming in, this is all the money going out, this is how many people work for me, this is how much it costs to acquire a customer, and I pretty much everything to do with the business I put into this dashboard, and it literally says, these are the people you need to replace. And I replace them, like graphic designers. Pat doesn't want to hear this, but 2 web developers are replaced because I don't need all of them because I can start doing basic stuff myself. So I slowly started to go through every segment of my company and started to build kind of infrastructure to support that. Now, at the start, it's quite difficult because you're there and you're like, and I was talking to Anthony, I'm like, bro, you can literally get AI to do what you want. He's like, for him, hearing that, he's a you're an engineer, right? So he's like, how are you going to do this? Like, I do so much in one day, but the importance of like actually understanding, can I actually implement this? How can I implement this? The thing is, you have to try, right? So there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of you guys that don't even know where to start, how to start. You've seen a lot of ChatGPT. I hate ChatGPT, by the way. Overrated, unless you're doing images, that's fine. But Claude, like if you've got a Claude account, Claude AI, operate from Claude, you can literally type in, like that prompt that Pat did, would have taken him like 5 minutes. You can just launch it to, what was it? Figma. Just launch it and like you've got it there. So you can literally build real time and it will code real time. We call it vibe coding, what you're feeling, boom, it will just create, right? But then it goes, it's much more intricate than that. So some use cases we've used. So my dashboard said you're spending too much money on marketing, right? Marketing media buyers, right? So I was paying, I think it was like 15 grand a month for someone to manage my Google ads and Facebook ads because I was too busy, right? Then my business partner's like, it's just an excuse. You're not too busy. You're just not focusing on the 20% of things that are going to make us 80% of revenue. And he changed my perception on the whole thing. I'm like, but if I focus on ads, then I can't do this. And all I was doing was stuff that's irrelevant now. That's how I'm able to work from home. So I focused on like, okay, cool. This is how I can instantly save $15,000 a month. I'll just take 1 month to learn this thing inside out. So I was learning like, what do the top media buyers do? How do I run meta ads? How do I run Google ads? And then I got all the top pretty much marketers on Australia, USA, and I got their Instagrams, I got their links, and I dumped it into Claude, right? And it just became this superpower. Like, it does the whole transcript thing. It understands like the doctrine of every single video that person's ever put on Instagram. It will go through thousands of videos, and then it will just give you this summary of like, this is how we're going to do ads from now on for Facebook, Instagram, and Google. So I'm like, cool. So that's my agent. So I've just saved 15 grand. Now, mind you, I was so scared to be like, am I really going to get rid of these guys that are generating me millions a year and put it in the hands of AI? And I just did it. And I'm like, hey guys, sorry, it's been a great thing, but now I'm on something else. It was kind of an easy breakup. A lot of trial and error. I broke Google Ads. I went broke for a month. Like, so much bad stuff happened, but that's how you learn, right? Like, you just get in it, you get into the trenches, and you learn. So long story short, I created this marketing agent, and it's phenomenal. Now it's thriving. It's pulled in the best numbers than it's ever done in the 6-year history of the ads account. Amazing, that's flourishing. So that's one agent, and then there's plenty more other agents that we've built, like graphic designer. So we've got a lot of offshore people, so a lot of Filipinos. We had about 12 Filipinos. I got rid of 2 graphic designers, and the dashboard said, whatever you get them to design, we will actually pick up the data of what people are clicking on Facebook. You know, you click on Facebook and you'll click an ad, and you're like, I didn't even know this was an ad. I thought it was like something else. So it'll pick up that data and then go, this is a pain point for people. So a pain point's like, I don't know, if you're a fitness person, and a pain point for you might be, I just want a good, affordable supplement, right? That's a pain point. Just give me something good I can trust, or whatever. So it will pick this up, and then it will generate the pain point. It will generate the graphic, and it will ship the ad live without me touching it, right? So there's a few different ways AI works. So I guess yours is a flywheel. You could call it a flywheel. It kind of just works, right? So there's assisted AI, where it's like, emails, an email comes in, that assists you. Then there's co-piloting AI. So it's like, I'm kind of guiding everything, and it's just giving me advice. And then there's like full flywheel AI, which is like, you create a system that works while you're asleep. And that's what I've created. So anyone can create it. It's not that I'm some superhuman. I know nothing really. Like, Pat would know, we're just this much in this big AI world. But I've created a flywheel that just pumps ads out all the time. It knows what type of ads we need to pump. It creates the image, and then it rates its image against itself. Like, we've created another agent, which is like an ad checker. It's like an amazing ad checker. It's about like, this doesn't make sense. This person has like 3 fingers instead of 5. So it actually checks itself, gives itself a ranking out of 10, and then it will ship it live. It's got that much, like, it's structurally sound at the point now where it doesn't even need to send me like a Telegram ping saying, hey, can you check this before it goes live? It doesn't need to do that anymore. It just ships it live, and it's been flawless. So it's a full system that can just replace people, and that's the scary thing. And a lot of people are like, oh, am I going to lose my job? Da da da. If you can adapt and pivot, like what Pat was saying, like, a developer is very high risk right now. But if you can take it and be like, we can use this, we can adapt to it, we can use AI and actually present something even better than we were able to produce in the past, that's where you're safe. Like, your knowledge and understanding of how to implement it, how to build it, and how to kind of sell it, if you're in that type of service type industry, you're going to benefit. You're not going to lose your job because AI is here, because it needs people, right? Like, there's a thing called SaaS, which is like, you create something and it's like, pay $30 a month and you get this AI bot. Like, that's dead right now. Like, right now, people are like, I can just build my own systems, you know what I mean? But then even further than that, there's like, and this is another story, so is this making sense? Okay, cool. Sorry, because my mind is going crazy. So in this whole journey, this has only happened in the last 2 months, right? So we saved $15K a month on ads. We'd got that for free. Our profit goes dramatically through the roof. It's putting up pain points from real data, from real people. Our profit's going through the roof. Now it's like, well, I can pretty much do ads, right? So this is an industry that people spent like 20 years trying to master the algorithms and blah, blah, blah. And I'm a marketing expert, you know? Well, I looked in the mirror, I'm like, I do Google ads, you know what I mean? And anyway, so this mate of mine owns a construction company, and I saw one of his ads, and I screenshot it and I sent it to him. I said, bro, this is crap. What are you doing? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, this is not an ad. This is rubbish. And he goes, oh, can you come and do the ads for me? I was like, I sure can. Anyway, long story short, I sat down with my business partner over, he was in Vietnam. We sat down and we said, this is what we can do for you. So he's like, oh, these guys are charging me 10 grand a month. I said, we're going to charge you 10 grand a month. I'm not going to do it cheaper. I'm just going to get real results because this is the slop you're putting out. We're about to give you real stuff, you know what I mean? Anyway, after the presentation, and I was talking to a few boys, he actually said, we don't want to pay you. We want to give you equity in our company if you can come in and do this forever with us. So next Wednesday, we're going to sign a deal where I'm pretty much going to own like a construction company. So I say all that to say, like, the possibilities are absolutely like torrential once you actually harness what you can do with AI. 2 months ago, I was paying someone $15,000 a month. Now I'm about to automate it for equity in a construction. Like, I'm still blown away right now. Like, I told my wife, I'm like, babe, like, this is amazing. This is crazy. So I'll just finish with this. So one of the biggest things that we automated for this construction company was the biggest time spent was generating an ad, and then the flow. Has anyone ever like clicked an ad to do construction or a renovation for your house? No one's really done that. So it's like anything with ads has to do with like the customer experience, right? The user experience. We call it UX and UI. So the experience for the customer is like you click on a pain point ad, like you want to do a renovation. Like, what would be a pain point for renovation? It's like, oh, I always get quoted 200K, but then it comes in at 270K with price inflation and bloating, right? So it's like, cool, let's make an ad. This is the bot. Like, I don't call it a bot because I respect it, right? My pal, my business partner, my cohort, he said, this is a pain point. Don't bloat the price, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I sent Ken. Can you send me... Okay, we're not going to talk about that one. This was a different angle. So we do pain points, but then we got angles. So Claude created me this, right? He's like, people will act on FOMO. It's just a thing. I don't even know if it's true, but apparently it's true. So secure 1 in the final 4. It adds FOMO, right? It works. People are like, oh, there's 1 in 4. It gives exclusivity for those people that want to do luxury renovations, luxury ground-up builds. So then from there, when you click that ad, every other customer from every other competitor, it would just go straight to like a form where it's like, how much do you want to spend? You know, when do you want it done? It's like it goes from an ad directly to a form. So the customer kind of loses, like, oh, this is a bit direct. So what we created was we've created 150 ads in like 20 minutes, and each different ad goes to a different landing page so the customer experience follows through direct to the end. Now I'll explain what that means. So it built this landing page, right? So every ad it builds a corresponding landing page. So the customer clicks on that ad. So just say you want to do a custom build. You're like, yeah, these guys look good. Boom, you click the ad, it takes you here. Boom, these are the 2 CEOs. And it's got everything to do with the 1 in 4 build. So the whole page is dedicated to FOMO. So that person that's been impressed by the FOMO ad has a FOMO landing page. And this is where it gets crazy, right? Claim my 20, all the CTAs, whatever. All here, what the last 5 spots. This is all AI generated. I did this. I feel like I'm a beast, right? Check this out. So it's like before and after. Do not look at this brand and judge it later on, all right? Get it done. They're a fantastic construction company. So we've done all this like before and after, before and after, before and after. Anyway, this is the most effective ad they have on that's going on Meta right now. Like, people are going off. Their like trajectory is like 15 mil and they're like 10 mil at the moment. So the trajectory just from this is just torrential. And this is one of like 150 that just got launched like that. So all that to say, you can do anything, but you really need to be in charge of what it looks like. You need to understand basic business. You need to understand flows, funnels. Like, you need to understand this stuff. You can't just jump on ChatGPT and go, give me a business that is going to make me money. Like, you understand, like Brad did it. He goes, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to expand. This is how we're going to make it easier. I know Pat's using it. His web devs don't like it, but it assists where it assists to make things slightly faster. It does give good ideas, but it leads you down the biggest rabbit hole of your life, right? You can end up spending like hours on like this thing that you never planned. So I've built a flywheel. I've built, like right now I've got agents working. I've got staff working that are unpaid, that are free, generating money, finding pain points from people right now clicking on ads, internet. And this is just one company. I do this on my other companies as well. So it's just this never-ending flywheel of just growth. And I'm very happy to see where it goes in the next few years. So, yeah, hope that all made sense.
Awesome, Josh. Thanks. Thanks, Josh. It's awesome, mate. I'd be amazed if those three presentations hadn't generated a heap of questions. So I'm going to hand over to you now to ask the questions that are on your mind, hopefully prompted by what these three gentlemen have covered.
Just wondering, gentlemen, can you hear me? Yep. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur, which, you know, you're quite creative, the three of you, with your business activities, and always forward-thinking, where ChatGPT is your partner, which is important, with your integrity coming to the business from your heart and how you build things. So do you distinguish that the AI is alongside you as opposed to controlling the activity, or is that really important to you to distinguish between where it fits in the business for you as people and owners?
It's a great question.
Yeah,
Josh.
As I mentioned, it's guided by us. If you were to completely let AI guide you, it will be wrong, 100%. It's got a lot of knowledge, but it doesn't know direction. So that's where Pat, Brad, and myself and you guys are the direction, and you know what success looks like. You need to put your own metrics in place to go, this is what I want, this is how it looks like if it's successful, and then that's how it assists you. You can't give it free rein. I can't just go make this construction company a lot of money and do it your way. Like, I need to understand, I put layers, we call them layers. So layer one is like, how do we make ads win for people? We need A, we need emotion. B, we need pain points. Like, these are all layers for it to cross-reference, and then it guides us. We can't just... It's very manual at the moment, I think, is probably what I want to say. Like, for the infrastructure, it's fantastic. Claude calls it artifacts. So when you put something in, it creates an artifact, and like your video editor, like, these are all things that we've built, but it's very much he built that. AI just brought it to life. You know what I mean? And the doctrine of AI is controlled by us and you. We can't let it free rein, so to speak.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on what Josh is saying there. I think if you look at whatever you want to accomplish, whatever it is, AI can probably take 70 to 80% of that off your plate, but it still needs that input at the beginning, maybe a little bit of tweaking along the way, and then a human to actually double check to make sure that it's turned out the way you actually wanted it. So maybe you put 5 or 10% in at the beginning to give it some direction, give it guidelines, set up the pipeline, set up the job, let AI do 80% of it, all the sort of grunt work, and then you still need to be at the other end of the pipeline to make sure that it's actually done what you want it to do. The great thing about AI is that if it doesn't work out the way you hoped it would, you just retrain AI. And so the next time it does, it gets a little bit better. And so you're constantly retraining it. The example I gave with the video editing pipeline, every now and again I'll tell it to do something new or something different or change something or tweak something, or you didn't quite get that right. You didn't highlight the main point, or your highlight ran over where it should have, and it just retrains it. So it does get better and better, and it takes you out of the loop more and more. But I don't think we'll ever get, well, we won't, because we need human input to at least point it in the right direction.
Yeah, and the risk is always at the other end. The risk is at the in my experience, I've found that AI has a tendency to overcomplicate things. You know, as humans, we want to simplify things. Elegant, simple system is the best system, but if you ask an AI to produce a system, it'll often produce something that's quite complicated. A verbose might be a word that people use, or over-engineered, or complicated. And that can cause problems at the tail end. So, you know, like if you're setting up a system, like these guys were talking about, they're great systems I've set up, the risk happens as you use your AI to create that, but then it can get very complicated at the end and be quite tricky to maintain its efficacy as you keep building. And you can re-engineer, of course you can, and start afresh, but sometimes that's an impossible thing to do depending on what industry that you're in. So it does hand over to you. I had a funny experience just on the road today, because we were driving up to Brisbane for my daughter to see something up in Brisbane, and it was pelting down rain, and got a Tesla, and it was like on auto drive, like we do, you know. So, and then all of a sudden there's a blah, big red sign on the screen, and it said, "Oh, it's your turn now," because it was like raining like crazy. I couldn't see anything on the M1, and it was like, no, I give up, you know. And I just thought that's such a picture of AI, to say, I've built all this complicated thing. I've got you this far. I've got you to the middle of the highway going 100 kilometres an hour, and I can't see anything. And now I'm just going to put a big red sign on the screen and say, over to you now. Now, you know, you know, my kids say I'm a terrible driver now, but I have had experience driving, you know what I mean? But I just encourage us all to project down the years, you know, down through the years and things like that, where you know, where that loss of base knowledge, you know, might come in place. Like, I can drive, I can take over the car, but goodness me, if the car had been driving for me for years, and I'd forgotten how to drive, then all of a sudden it goes, your turn now, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of the scariest situation that you can ever be in when you're behind the wheel. You know, like I hands over to you at the worst possible time, and I've had clients that have built very complicated systems like that call me up and go, I can't believe it, my flywheel's broken and I can't fix it, and my customers are ringing me up and getting bad service and things like that. So there is a real risk at that end, and it does encourage, you know, like it does also encourage a little bit of isolation, one person being the boss of many things, and does enable that. But as business owners, you should see that as a risk as well. Like, if you've got one person that's responsible for, you know, if one person becomes the indispensable person who knows all AI systems and things like that, then they're out of action for a second, then your business is cooked. So, you know, just want us all to be you know, really excited and encouraged, but to go in with really with our eyes open to you know, what it's good at, and where the challenges are. So yeah, don't build something and then, you know, get to the point where it's got that red sign and says, oh no, your turn now. And you're like, oh, I've forgotten what to do. I can't make a good ad. I can't edit a video anymore. I've forgotten how to do all that sort of stuff because you've done it for so long. And my other observation is that these guys have talked about is they're already experts. You know, if you can't write a script that's going to edit a great video, unless you know how to edit a great video, it's going to make you quicker, but you've got to get to that level of skill kind of first. And then all of a sudden you feel like it's a great time saving. Just like what Josh was saying, you've got to be the boss of that thing that you're good at. So, you know, I want us all to, again, just understand that, and then how that skill flows through our business into the future, you know, especially on the people side of it. I'll always be. I went into business to employ people, to see their families thrive, all that sort of stuff, and there's a real push towards efficiency, and that's going to be great. And you're going to have to do that to be competitive. I understand that, but we always want to remember, as business people, we're often employing people as well, and it's a really, really important part to bring them along with the journey as well. Yeah. Anyway, that's my couple of thoughts.
Great answers, and as someone who's been in business for sort of 45 decades, it's encouraging to hear that. 45 years. it's in.
What peptide are you on, bro?
No, that was a ChatGPT response. Oh, sorry, not 45 years. I'm wrong. Sorry. 45 decades.
The sort of issues and risk management that you've just talked about then are very similar conversations to what we were having in the 90s and early 2000s when everything was being outsourced. Admittedly, being outsourced to other human beings delivering most of the work, often in cheaper, low-cost labour countries, but the same disciplines, being really clear on what you're getting AI to do, so scoping it, having performance dashboards in place so that you can track that the outcomes are what you expect. No different to managing staff. So I think it's encouraging that those executive skills and risk management and management tools, that doesn't change. It might be a different agent that's delivering the service or the output. So that's.
And I think
great.
the overall concept that Pat was getting at is that AI is just a tool, and it's a great tool. And I truly believe that if you don't embrace it, you will get left behind. But it's no different to any tool that we've had in the past. In the 1980s, if you weren't accepting credit cards or starting to accept credit cards, you got left behind. In the 90s, if you didn't start using computers and what computers offered, you got left behind. In the 2000s, if you didn't have a web presence, you got left behind. In the 2010s, if you didn't adopt social media, you got left behind. And now in the 2020s, if you choose not to adopt AI, you'll get left behind. That's all it is, the reality of it. So it's just a tool like any other tool that's come before us. It's a very, very powerful tool, and it'll absolutely shift the landscape, not only the business landscape, but every other landscape that we live in at the moment. But if we embrace it as a tool and look for the positives in it and see how it can benefit us and other people and societies, then it can be a great thing.
Other questions? Yes, John.
It's very impressive technology, isn't it? Pat, you gave a pretty good example, I think, in terms of your health business. It took you across 20 years and a few $100,000 US to develop your system. Josh has just described. I congratulate you for getting an equity stake in a construction company, using AI as a tool. That's really impressive stuff. That's the stuff that was previously given in Silicon Valley to developers. And you've essentially become a developer.
Correct.
Yeah. So in terms of how much better is the digital marketing system that you've developed over versus the traditional, I think you said $10,000 a month that they were. How much better is it? Is it 10 times, 100 times? It's obviously seriously better, otherwise it would offer you an equity stake.
Yeah. It's a great question, and I'm very excited to share this answer. So in digital marketing, you're paying for hours, right? So I don't know if has anyone ever asked someone to do marketing for their Facebook or anything, right? So they'll go, oh, what would you like us to do? And then they go, oh, Facebook. Oh, cool, that's going to be $3K a month. Then you do the stack, right? Then you go, cool, let's do Google. That's going to be another $3K a month. Oh, you want us to do SEO? That's another $5K a month. So everything you add on is like hours, and it costs you more, right? With what you can make, what I was asking from them at the end was, I want to make 100 ads a week and I want you to test 100 ads a week. I never logged into a Facebook ad platform ever, so I didn't know how tedious it was. So I kind of understood. I'm like, yeah, but Josh, this is a lot of work. It's going to cost you an extra $8,000 a month. I said, I'm not paying $8,000 a month. They're like, yeah, but 100 ads, you know, the revenue ROI on that will be huge. I'm like, no. So they just wanted more and more and more because there was more and more work. Now I'm shipping like 50 ads a day automatically, cross-reference. It's killing the ones that aren't performing. It's learning from the ones that are performing. It's duplicating the performers. It does all this daily. They would give me like a 2-week to a 1 month recap. Hey, this is how the month went. This is what's winning. Before I'd hear that, they could have saved 50 ads from dying if they just shuffled it around, if they did this. So what I learned was they're just lazy, man. You know what I mean? They're not lazy. They just can't keep up with AI. That's the truth. They're not lazy. It takes a lot of work. But for me to build that system, I had to cut them off, learn, obviously assisted by AI. Hey, I'm going to set this ad live. What's the pros and cons here? So I had to learn the basic. Once I got my head around it, which was about a week and a half, I'm like, cool, I can build a whole system here. And obviously, we've got so much social media that teaches you, like you've got these gurus that are like, hey, do this, this, and this, very reputable ones. So I was just dumping their brain into the AI, and everything that I thought was logical, it would challenge me saying, hey, based on your framework that you've told me, this is wrong because it cross-referenced itself. So now the output, I would say it's over 100 times. Yeah, like you can't get a steak unless you're producing. But also, the intelligence level of those CEOs has major. If they knew, I would be insignificant, right? So the fact that you jump on fast, you get in, you show, but also I know a lot of people don't have all the time in the world to do what I do from home. You know what I mean? So it's something that will be around. If you can harness it, use something beneficial that you can offer someone and just put all your time into that, you win. You know what I mean? So people will be around with AI forever. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. It's you couldn't pay for that. You know what I mean? That doesn't exist. Yeah, it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, Josh, can you just highlight, because you've mentioned obviously you've got this AI bot now that you've programmed through Claude, performing high-level marketing. From what I understand, if you don't have an IT or a programming background, sort of for the layman sort of starting off, can you sort of outline how you started to get to that point, like from sort of that beginning piece to sort of kicking that off?
Yeah, I'll just make a really quick comment, because this is a lot of times when you're talking with people about AI, there's this hesitation around, I don't know what to do, I don't know how AI works, I don't know what step to take, how do I get started? Ask AI, and it'll take you through the whole process. Just say, Claude, I don't know how to do this, what steps do I need to take? And so anytime you catch yourself saying, I don't know what to do, just go and ask AI, it'll tell you.
I'll just answer his initial question. So the account was 6 years old. I spent hundreds of thousands with this company, with all the extra work and all that. So it had a history. So I got that history. I put it saying, hey, this is the history of my account. This is the history of the performance. Then I created a skill called Grill Me, a Grill Me skill, which pretty much says, why are you asking these questions? And it'll just cross-check me. Like, it'll just say, why do you want to know? What do you want to know? And I'll just build this infrastructure around this question. So I put the whole history of the account in there, and I said, analyze this account and tell me how it's run. And then it gave me an overview. Your account was run generically. It said generic. This is a very generic style setup. And that killed me, because I'm like, these were supposed to be like prestige people, and it's a generic ad account setup. So I was kind of annoyed. I had to get in there and post my own ads, so I actually understood the process of doing it. And then I had to understand algorithm and pain points and basic marketing. Like, I had to learn. Like, I follow, the only thing on my Instagram is like how to make a good ad, how to make an emotional ad, how to run your meta ads, how to target audience. Like, so knowledge is there. So I got the history of the ads account. I put in how I wanted to operate. This is how I want to operate. Is this good? It says, yes, this is very good because you're operating from an emotional standpoint, which is the highest converting thing on Meta. It's emotional, right? You see something and it sticks with you. Oh, and actually a funny, cool thing, all my ads now, they've shifted since that one. So every quarter, Facebook put out a statement of the highest engaging content on Facebook. And the top 7 were news articles, right? All my ads are now news articles, fake news articles. Like, for gender reveal, it was like a mum holding like a cannon. And then it was like, mum exposes the gender reveal cannon industry, right? It's got like a fake 7 News thing. It doesn't say 7 News, but it looks, you know, with the red, blah, blah, blah. And then they click it, and then it takes them to a page that doesn't say anything about my brand, but it alludes to my brand, and all the call to actions are to my website. So you learn all this stuff, right? You learn all these little tricks. And then I said, I want you to create me a system from there, with all the knowledge you have, with all the knowledge that I've just put into you, how to make this account positive and give me real conversions. And then it, like Brad was just saying, it will walk you through that process and you kind of just follow that. But if I didn't have a clue, it would be a very long process and it wouldn't make sense. And you might as well just not even start because you don't know what success looks like at the end, right? You're just like, well, cool, I've made this thing, now what do I do? I wouldn't even know how to adjust this, I wouldn't know how to adjust that or target the audience. So I just started by dumping what existed, and I'm sure you might have an ads account that has existing. I'm happy to just walk you through it, charge you 10 grand a month, that's fine. Or equity in your company, I'm all right with either. But starts on Claude Code. If you guys just want a good top AI, just Claude Code, and you can just type in what you want. You can build a website in T-minus 35 seconds, like you've seen Pat display. Brad's probably built this system. Of course, there's a lot of tweaking, but if it was to do it all in one shot, we call it one shot on Twitter and all that. When we're posting, we're like, I just one hit this landing page. It means just one prompt, perfection, right? Very rarely happens. But if you were to do it in one shot, it would take you 5 minutes, right? Or 15 minutes to write the prompt based off your knowledge. You just need to know what you want. That's the easiest thing. Like, what do you want your success to look like? Sorry?
All the hardest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And just know, like, this is what I have, what to tell it, this is what I have, this is my goal. How can you help me get there? Then we run the grill me skill. It's going to ask, what do you do? How much you want to spend? A lot of people do marketing ads. They don't even know their own numbers. Like, their cost per lead, CPLs, could be $30,000, but they're landing them, but they're making no profit because their jobs are like $20,000. You know what I mean? So you need to know your books, man. Like, that's why I did the finance first, because I knew everything that derived from my growth, my finances need to be perfect. So then I feed the P&Ls, I feed the NCAC we call new customer acquisitions. It feeds everything, my margins, my shipping, my blah, blah, blah. So then it knows this guy wants me to make ads that are targeting high-end people that are going to have an average order value higher than this. But it needs that framework of finance to understand how you're going to make money in the future. It's so deep, bro.
Yeah, and I probably overwhelmed you guys a little bit with all this fancy stuff that we're talking about, and I don't want you guys to think that you have to totally revolutionise your entire business tomorrow. My advice would be just to pick one area of your business, one thing that's causing you problems, a bottleneck or something that's very time consuming or something that you just hate doing, and just figure out that one little thing, how AI can help you in that thing. And it's a bit like a snowball effect. Once you get some wins on the board in one little thing, it'll inspire you to do other things. But probably a big mistake is to try and reimagine your entire business run by AI within the next week or two. So yeah, just pick one thing that either keeps you up at night, or when you go into work in the morning, you just go, oh man, not again. I've got to do this or that or whatever. Pick that one thing that's driving you crazy, and get AI to help you with that.
That's great advice. Now, I'm conscious of the time. We've probably got time for one more question. Up the back.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I have two questions, but before that, first of all, thank you very much for coming to that request. About 2 months ago, you asked what we want to hear about. You remember that?
Yep. No
And
problem.
I raised the hand and said, come on, bring it AI. And I think we're kingdom people. And what we're doing here today, it's amazing. Because we are the ones that have to actually get the ground going. And thank you for that again. Gentlemen, 3 of you. I'm a newbie to it. I use it for a couple of months. I'm in the trading game. But question to all 3 of you, just whoever wants to answer it. GPT or Claude, and pros and cons. Just
Claude.
very short sort of idea. That's the first question. Then I got another one.
It depends. Claude, 100%.
Yeah.
Did you say you're in trading?
I'm in the trading
I've
game,
got
yeah.
friends that automated trading bots that
That's
are making them
what we're working on now.
like 15 to 20K passive. Just
Yeah.
made it. Obviously starting small, started from like 500. Now they're doing that. Claude, for generic stuff, obviously they've got different models inside Claude, like Haiku and all these that do images and all that. But for images, ChatGPT just took over the game. You can one-hit graphics and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
But Claude, daily operation, especially for trading. I don't know, Pat, maybe you got something else?
Oh, look, I think use the tool you need for there's quite a few that are specific to different tasks. So don't lock yourself into one platform. That would be my advice. And you'll find over time that they get better and worse. They really do, actually. Like they change their algorithms and they muck around with their settings and they work out they're losing money, so they make it worse. And that happens, and you can really see that happening from time to time.
Yeah.
So I'd really encourage you to be familiar with a few different platforms as well, and just see what works for you. And you'll find that some gel with you. Like Claude's quite technical. It talks about skills and has scripts, and it's very powerful.
Coding.
I love using it, but it's not for everybody. And if you're just building websites like I did, there'll be other tools that are a lot simpler that can achieve that result. So, but don't be scared to try a few. That would be my advice.
Just a quick second question, just make it quickly. I realized there's a little bit sort of built in AI that you have to push it. So it can produce some, what they call drifting. It tells you inaccurate numbers. It gives you old scenarios, old news, blah, 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 blah. I sort of freaked out a couple of times and started calling it names, pushing it. And then I actually started realizing what it does. It went in a different mode. It starts bringing up the data very slow. And it sort of was like resetting. Is there any similar things you guys can suggest, like command or something? You can say like reset or something? Well, deep search or deep seek, whatever. I don't know what you call them. Yeah. Is there any shortcuts for that?
It depends what you're using. I know Claude Code has a clear
No, I use the
and
GPT
compact
for the info.
feature to sort of clean out some of the stuff that you've been working on. But yeah, the bigger the project, the more that'll happen. And you can run up against usage limits and stuff like that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There's, just quickly on that one, there's something called context windows. So each chat that you open up is like a context window, and once that gets too full, like you'll see a little usage thing at the bottom, you just click compact, it will compact it, boom, and then it will refresh it again. It will do that for you. It won't delete it, it will just summarize. Like I built this whole dashboard, now I learned that's the wrong way on one chat. I just kept compacting it.
Yeah, keep every task separate.
Separate, yeah.
Yeah, and Claude has a great feature called projects. So if you have a project for writing or a project for this website or a project for SEO or segment everything so you don't have that big problem.
And then you have one that brings them all together. But when you go to update, just say you're making a trading bot, you'll do like, I don't even know what it would consist of, but you would have like all its information on how to trade, all like the best knowledge, and then each different section and then you'll bring all those sections together in a different chat and make them work together, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, correct.
Okay. Well, I'm going to draw our evening to a close. I wonder if you could join with me and thank Pat, Brad and Josh. And if we would also thank Ray and Kent, who've been very professionally managing our technology this evening.